bitch too foreign in the beast. I don't need it. Yeah, bitch. Two-seater. New bitch wanna fuck with my AP. New freezer. I woke up thinking about bands. Hop over just to a check when I land. My bitch too foreign in the beast.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is kicking off Cuffing Chronicles. And I have all my friends here. Whenever you see us in these videos, we will be having bonnet talk. That's why everyone has bonnets, headscarves, you know. We'll probably switch it up in a couple videos too. I'm gonna start it off with a quick introduction starting from my right. So go ahead.
I'm Cynthia. Loriana.
Adriana.
John.
Deja.
Princess.
And these are my friends. They're crazy. So today's topic is maturity in a relationship, the importance of it, the value it has within the relationship, and the differences it can make in whether or not the relationship is successful or it fails. So I'm gonna start off with a couple questions. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So how important do you feel knowing yourself before getting in a relationship is?
I feel like if you don't know yourself, you won't know what to look for and what to want in a relationship. Because if I don't know what I like, I don't know what I dislike, I'm just going to go with the flow and end up doing what the guy wants. And at the end, you're not going to be happy in the relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that's like a big part of whether or not someone's mature enough to be in a relationship?
Yes.
I feel like at least like days and age, I don't know. I feel like everybody just wants to be in a relationship. Everyone like hops in a relationship. And like most of the time they just go in because it's like the trend, I want to say.
Right.
They don't go in because they really like the person. They go in because they feel like, oh, I've been talking to you for a while. Why don't we just go out?
Right.
You can talk to somebody and you guys can be like completely horrible for each other. But you don't see that because you're not in a relationship. Because people do change. Because once you get the title, once you get into like, they feel like they have like they owe you something or you owe them something, and they change how they act. So.
Yeah, I agree. I would say another thing is too, like what you said, how people kind of like just get into a relationship just to be in it. I feel like the immature thing that people do is just rushing into a relationship. Like just, you know, that's like their main thing. Like they just want to be in a relationship. They're not really taking time to like get to know a person, know how that person is, and then they're just like jumping into a relationship not knowing who the person is.
I feel like on top of that, not only knowing yourself, but also loving yourself. Because there's a lot of people out there who are jumping into relationships and they don't know who they are and they don't even like themselves to begin with. So for me to be in a relationship, I have to know what I want, and I also have to be comfortable in my own skin and my own body and know my goals and what I want out of that relationship. Because how can you give yourself to somebody if you don't even know what you're giving?
Right.
Like if you don't even like yourself, like what are you giving to that person? So people really need to take that time to become mature, like find themselves, figure out their goals in life, what they like, what they don't like, before they can even jump into a relationship with somebody else.
And speaking on that, like people who like are in relationships where like their like significant other, like if you're a female and your like boyfriend is to tell you like, oh, don't wear that, don't go out with like these certain people, don't go out to this certain place. Like, I feel like people who are quick to listen to that are people who, like, don't know themselves.
Right.
They feel like they don't, like, they're not anything without their significant other.
Right.
So when he says something, they value it more because they feel like they can't lose that person. If you know yourself and you know your self-worth, you know your value, you're going to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing is not crazy. I'm not out here, like, disrespecting the relationship we're in and disrespecting you. Why can't I do what I want to do, and why should someone be allowed to tell me what I can and can't do?
Right.
Nobody can.
Exactly. And like the other thing too, I feel like that's like kind of goes back to like insecurities. You know, like if your significant other is dictating how you should live your life and telling you not to wear this or do that, like that's an insecurity within themselves, and they have some growing up to do. Like they need to mature and like I was about to get into, like, be the best version of themselves for themselves. I feel like a lot of people don't do that enough. You know, like I feel like you have to be the best version of yourself before you get into a relationship.
I agree.
I feel like people who have that sort of mindset where they like they try to like the guy try to control the girl and then the girl accepting it but whatnot. I feel like both parties, they tend to like have like a certain void in them that they try to fill by, for example, controlling someone because they may feel like maybe that can like make them feel happier, or the girl following the guy and she may feel like this is what like her life is supposed to be, you know,
Right,
that
like
type of
wanting,
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what she wants.
Yeah.
And like to add to that, like it takes a certain person. Like, you obviously, we all have to kiss frogs to get to our prince. And like, one of my friends was actually asking me, like, how can, like when is it going to be my turn to be happy, basically? And the thing's like, if you focus so much on like striving, if your happiness is within a relationship, if that's the way you can form happiness, or like you're striving for that happiness, like it takes time and it's something you can't rush. Just because everyone else is in a relationship doesn't mean it's your turn to be in a relationship.
Right.
Find yourself, find happiness within yourself, and do you.
Yeah, definitely. I feel the other thing is too, like, about happiness, what you were talking about. I feel like a lot of people place all of their happiness within their relationship, and as soon as that relationship like ends, their whole world crumbles, like, and they have no other source of happiness. So I feel like that's another thing, like, you need to find your source of happiness, like find happiness by yourself before you can be with another person, because I'm not wishing the worst for anybody or saying like their relationship is going to end, but if it does end, like, you need to be able to pick yourself up and continue. But if you rely all your happiness on that person and they leave, you're gonna be left with that empty void feeling like you were talking about, and then you're gonna be wanting someone else to come in and fill that void.
That's another thing. When you said that, like, if you leave the relationship, you have to have something to hold on to. But sometimes girls get into a relationship and they drop everything else. Yeah. So their whole life is focused on the guy, that they even drop their friends, they've dropped their families, and then their whole life is obsessed over one guy. And when that relationship ends, they realize that they have nothing. So that's also important. Like, if you're going to be in a relationship, you have to be mature enough to know when you should be doing the things in your relationship, and then also be able to hang out with your friends, hang out with your families. Just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you have to drop everybody else in the world.
Right. Speaking about that, what do you guys feel about like being in a relationship and having like a balance between making enough time for the person, like your significant other, and your friends?
I think that's very important, because if you're in a relationship where your significant other only wants you to talk to him or only wants you to hang out with them, that's not a healthy relationship, and you need to get out immediately. Because if somebody is keeping you from living your life, if someone is keeping you from seeing your friends, someone's keeping you from seeing your family, that's not a boyfriend, that's a dictator. And you need to get out of that relationship.
Me personally, I don't like texting throughout the day. Like, we can text once in the throughout the day, like, oh, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, texting every moment of the day, that's not me. Like, I'd rather like end the night with like a call with their significant other and like FaceTime with them, because I feel like there's nothing really to say during the day. Like, there's gonna be the same question, what are you doing in class?
Yeah, like, exactly.
But there's some people who who are in relationships, they just like that constant communication with that person throughout the day.
I mean, I guess it works both ways. Like, it's a good feeling to know like the person like wants to see how your day is going and like check up on you and wants to keep talking to you. But like you were saying, like most of the time, if someone texts me during the day, what are you doing? I'm in class. You know, like I'm like most productive throughout the day, and most of the time, like throughout the day, I'm not even looking at my phone. Like, I don't look at my phone, like pay attention to it until I get back to my room.
I actually have a question. Why do you think like our generation puts like so much emphasis on being in a relationship?
Social media.
Yeah.
Because I feel you can go, Janelle.
I feel a lot of times people base the strength of their relationship based on how present they are on social media. Because I've seen people who like their boyfriends or their girlfriend post them all the time, but in reality they're cheating on them every other day. And I've seen people who are low with it. They don't post anything on social media, and they still get cheated on. So it's like they always base on what's seen in media, and then they don't really focus on the ins and outs of their actual relationship.
And once you start posting, and you stop posting, and you guys broke up, I need the reason why. I'm connected to the relationship. This is a story. This is my weekly story. Okay?
I don't like, personally, I understand that you guys are in a relationship and then you guys want to show each other off, but if you guys have problems or you have an argument, the whole world should not be knowing your argument. In my opinion.
Stay off of Twitter.
No Snapchat.
Yes,
Snapping. Business out there.
Don't put those little sub quotes.
Like, we don't know who they're talking about.
Exactly.
That's how you know
I'm at them for you.
You're not mature.
Exactly.
Like, listen to sad songs by yourself in your room. It's okay.
Yeah, and then posting on Snap thinking. Yeah, what are you thinking about? It's okay, honey.
Or they put some Beyonce quote from Lemonade.
I'm strong.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
You know what's my favorite one? If Beyonce can get cheated on, anyone can.
Oh, shut your mouth. I hate that. Like, a lot of people, like, what was it? I saw today, somebody was like, what was it? It'll come back to me. I remember.
I have a question.
I remember.
Okay.
It was Kanye and Kim West. Everyone's saying like, how is Kanye with someone who always posts their body? How is Kanye with her? She seems like a shallow person. And then someone posted, Jay-Z cheated, Kanye did it. So find happiness within yourself.
Yep.
Don't look at other people's relationship. Because I thought Beyonce and Jay-Z were perfect.
Yeah.
And I obviously not everyone like admires to be like Kim and Kanye. I do, but like not like people admire to be like them because of the way like Kim is. She's just a free spirit.
Unconventional, right?
Yeah, she's a free spirit. So when I heard that, I said, let me mind my business. Let me mind my business and not focus on other people's relationships.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
I have a question. How do you feel about like talking to say you're talking to someone like and you guys start dating for like a month, then they say I love you. How do you feel about that?
Ooh, that's
Love is a strong word.
What is love?
What is love? What is love?
We have to go through a lot with someone and experience a lot with them, learn a lot about them for them even to say I love you.
Right.
After a month,
After a month, that's
But-
I feel a week.
But people also confuse love with infatuation.
Yes.
People
Yes.
don't know what love is. Like there's a difference between being infatuated with somebody and then lusting after somebody and then also loving someone. Because love to me is not fickle. Love is not a feeling. It's not like, oh, you wake up, oh, you love somebody. Oh, you wake up the next day, you don't love them. Love is not a feeling because feelings are fickle.
Right.
Love is a decision. Like you're waking up every day deciding to love this person no matter what. Like love is like till death do you part.
It's shown in your actions.
Right. So when people just say, "Oh, I love him," or "I love," I'm like, "What do you mean by love? Like, what is love to you?"
And they don't even know what they love about that person.
Right. That's the other thing too. Like how you said after a month. I feel like honestly, I feel like they're in love with the idea of you. That's the big thing. People say they're in love, but I feel like they're in love with the idea of the person. Because after a month, it takes time to get to know certain things about a person. If you ask someone that's like in love and married, if you ask them what you love about your spouse, they'll say like, I love the way they do this. I love the way when they wake up in the morning and they do this. Like they know their tendencies, they know who they are from inside and out. A month, I don't think you can get to know a person that well within a month, you know? It's like, we don't even get to know that much in classes in a month, so how you gonna love somebody in a month?
but I feel like there's some people out there like, you know, like the whole soulmate thing when you find like the other half of you, la la la.
I think that's
There are people who like will know each other for 2 weeks and they'll get married after 80 years.
That is true.
I feel like,
But then I feel like they're also making that decision to love each other. Again, like love is not a feeling, you know, it's not like one day like you wake up feeling another way. Like you have to actively choose to love somebody. And if they actively choose to love each other for 80 years, then yes. But the thing with our generation is they don't know what love is. They confuse that with lust, or they confuse that with, and especially if you throw in sex in it, then that just makes it a whole nother conversation. Because maybe they're not loving that person for who they are, but of like the benefits, the extracurricular activities that they are doing, you know?
Yep, that's true.
And do you guys believe?
Personally, for my relationship, we didn't say we loved each other until like a year in. I feel like anything like really soon is just like it's confused with being like kind of obsessed and infatuated with that person and lusting over that person, so it's not genuinely love.
like the honeymoon phase has to like go away.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys believe there's different type of love?
Yeah, definitely.
So should the person you marry eventually get to the level of love you have for your parents? Like, should that be what you try to strive for, or
I think that's different. Like the love you have for your parents is different than the love you have for your friends, which is different than the love you have for your significant other.
I'm talking about your husband. Should like I'm saying within getting married, should your goal be eventually to get your love level as like much you love your parents as the much?
But what is that level though? So what is that level?
Like the level I love my parents at is like I would like give my life to my parents. I would give them everything I have off of me. Like I would give my life for them. My goal, I'm saying like, I want my marriage to like strive for that goal.
So
I'm not saying right away, but I'm saying like, my goal is to get to that level of love.
So I wouldn't say it's like the same level of love I have for my parents, but it is an unconditional love.
So like the love you have for your kids.
Yeah, you know, like it's unconditional because
I think your love for your kids should be strong.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I think so too. I was gonna, because there's people that say like they love their children more than they love their spouse, and that's understandable, you know.
I respect that.
But that doesn't mean that you love your spouse even less.
It doesn't.
Yeah, this is like a different level.
It's a different of love, and you can't really quantify it, and you can't even describe it. It's just something that you feel. It's like the actions, like how Adriana was saying, the love for her parents, she'll take the clothes off her back, like, you know, like you will die for your parents, but like it's kind of like off balance because we all have friends that. Some friends we know, like we're not super close with them, but we have love for them too. But would you die for that friend? You couldn't say you'll die for that friend.
And it's being honest. It's being honest. Like, and people fail to realize when you're honest with the way you feel, and then they get offended. Like me personally, it's hard for me to say I love you to people.
Right.
Because I can't. It's not me. I didn't tell my best friend I loved her until like 3-4 years into our friendship. Like, love is a very fickle thing for me. So like, and some people get offended if they say they love me and I don't say it back. I'm just like, it's hard.
You see,
it's hard.
Right. And I know what you mean. There are people that are like that, and I feel like those are people like they have an immature mindset because they haven't grasped the idea that people fall in love at different times. You know, if you're in a relationship, you're not gonna fall in love at the same time. There's some people they say like, you know, like the woman in the relationship will say like, oh yeah, he told me he loved me 8 months in, but I didn't tell him till 1.5 years, you know, but he let me like build love for him. He let me fall in love. And it's probably like the efforts that person puts in, because efforts is something that will make you fall in love with the person, you know, like how Cynthia was saying, some people meet each other in 2 weeks and get married and stay together for like however many years. I feel like if you meet each other after that short amount of time and you feel like you guys are soulmates and you're truly in love with each other, you would definitely have to put in effort in order to make that relationship.
What is a soulmate?
I think
you don't believe in soulmates?
I think love is a build-up.
You don't believe in
I don't
soulmates?
think it's gonna be just like those 2 weeks and over those 80 years it was a build-up. I think it was a build-up. Like, I think love should be a build-up, not just a plateau.
But you know what I also realized too? I feel like with our generation and the older generation, love is on different, like love is quantified differently. You know what I'm saying? Because like our generation, we take time to fall in love with a person. We take time to like get into marriage. Well, not everybody. At least people like us.
No. You'll be saying I love you so quick. Yeah. They can still cheat on shorty, but still say I love you.
Okay. Well, that's true.
It messes. Okay, this generation, you gotta stop.
Okay, wait. Actually, no. Let me say this again. Let me rephrase this. I'm gonna start off with the older generation as an example. The older generation, when they met another person, their main focus was getting married. You know, they weren't interested in just dating just to date. No situationships. No just talking and stuff like that. You guys,
Wait,
what age are you talking about?
We're talking about because.
Our age, our parents at our age.
Oh, yikes. No.
My parents were dating.
No.
My parents were dating other people, you know?
Yeah, they're dating other people.
My parents were kind of conservative.
It's like grandparents.
That's what I think it's also like where you're coming
when they're courting like 1950s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 1950s, right? That courting thing. But like, you know, I know personally, like my parents came from like a more traditional like courting kind of thing. Like when you meet a person, your mindset is, I want to court you to eventually get married.
That also has to do with like Africans, they don't believe in dating.
Culture. Definitely culture.
Culture is different.
Yeah. And then so like that whole kind of thing, like I feel like I personally feel like older generations put more value onto marriage, which is why divorce rates weren't so high back then. But as of recently, divorce rates are like skyrocketing, and I think it's because like the newer generation doesn't value marriage as strongly. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's 100% true, because back then people didn't get divorced because of the social stigma.
That's true.
Because it was also taboo to get divorced,
that is true.
and it wasn't like the legal side wasn't entirely on your side for you to get divorced. So a lot of people just stayed in relationships even though they were unhappy. But if the times of today were like that back then, then more people would have gotten divorced.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually agree with you. Think about it now, because like Cynthia's example with the whole 2 weeks, 80 years kind of thing. In that case, they might have wanted to get divorced multiple times, but like you said, the whole social construct is what forced them to stay together.
Yeah.
So whether or not that 80 years of marriage was a good 80 years of marriage, whether or not they were happy, sometimes people are married for 50 years and they have separate bedrooms in their house.
Yeah.
You know, and they just put up a front for everyone else around them.
You're just hard.
Back to the question I asked Princess, do you guys believe in soulmates?
Yes.
I do.
I believe
I
in
don't
multiple.
know.
I think you can have multiple soulmates.
I don't think it's
Like, how do you have? Yeah, I don't know.
I think it says it in the Bible. It says in the Bible that like I'm sorry, for me, it's based on like everything in life has its plan. Everything in life is literally already set out for me. I'm just the one that has to put it in place. Life is a puzzle, and I have to put it together.
Yeah.
So in the puzzle, who I'm destined to be is already in the puzzle. I just have to find that person. So it's like I feel like I'm not. That's how I believe personally that like my life is solving a puzzle.
But I feel like there's multiple soulmates.
How do you have that connection with some, like that one true love? How do you have multiple?
Like,
People are struggling to even find one.
Go back to Grace and then find two.
Multiple. Can I only find one to look for three?
I feel like sometimes you don't find everything in one person. Like, and then what if that situation ends? And then you find something else in another person.
So it's like different levels because no one is perfect. So for each person, you're gonna find for each person you're gonna find different things you love about them. But like no one person is gonna have everything.
Okay,
That's what I think a soulmate is.
Okay, exactly.
But that doesn't exist because there's no perfect person.
It does not exist.
No, it doesn't exist. But I personally feel like a soulmate is someone that is who in your mind, when you think of the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, they embody a majority of those things.
Yeah,
they're not gonna embody every single thing.
Yeah.
But and then back to like what John was saying, how like the whole like multiple, like you might meet one person you like something, like you love something about them, and you might meet another person you love something about them.
Yeah.
As bad as it might seem, I feel like those people are practiced. You know, like I feel like certain people enter your life and you get into certain relationships with people because you're learning how to be a better person for your soulmate. You know, the person you're destined to spend the rest of your life with.
Question. So say you think that person is your soulmate, but they don't think you're their soulmate. What you gonna do?
You at that point, that's what shows whether or not they love you the way you love them.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't, it's all about reciprocity. Like if someone isn't giving you what you're giving them, I think that's a sign.
That's not your soulmate. Because your soulmate, you two will love each other. Soulmateship is not one-sided.
No, I feel like if it's meant to be, if y'all are really soulmates, it will come together somehow, some way. To be honest.
It was just a question for y'all.
Years down the road.
Years down the road, when you're 80 years old, y'all will still come together.
Please.
What if I wanted him for those 30 years he left me?
It will still happen if it's like if it's meant to be. I feel like it will happen. No matter what you do.
I agree with Cynthia. I'm one of those people that feel like if it's meant to be, it will happen. Because you hear these love stories where people dated when they were in high school. They were high school sweethearts. They went away different places for college.
China,
and then they got married. They got
Y'all been watching too many movies.
or something. No, but it happens. No, but it's like Shade Room. You know, Shade Room has all their engagement stories. Sometimes you see stuff like
That happened to my aunt.
You see? Or sometimes people see?
She was with this guy. They met when they were younger. They went to separate ways. My aunt got married, had 2 kids. They ended up divorcing together.
That's my exact example I was gonna give. So that's why I say I feel like if it's meant to be, it will happen. So at that point, like as bad as it sounds, a lot of us don't want to end up getting divorced in a marriage. Like that's not our goal. We want to stay with somebody for the rest of our lives. But sometimes you do divorce because that's not your soulmate. That's not the person you're destined to be with. You learn lessons from them, and then eventually, like you're gonna find the person you were destined to be
But if
with.
you divorce, take all their money.
I don't think you should. But the thing is, like, my issue with that is like, then what's to say that people won't get into the marriage think like, oh, it's not like this isn't my soulmate, I'm gonna find somebody else.
That's
like
immature.
But the thing is, like, is that a thing? So like if you marry somebody, you have that idea that you have that feeling like they're your soulmate, right? And then you get divorced and then you find another person, or you go back to the first person and you really realize that, oh, like that was my soulmate. Like, why not be with them initially?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And
And
it's a learning experience.
Yeah. So but the thing is, like, if you know someone's your soulmate, then you know
It's too early for you to.
that's
I don't have
annoying.
like, gone through enough to know that person is your soulmate. Maybe your soulmate.
But then, so what? Then what characterizes a soulmate? Then?
But listen,
because
so
now it's making it seems like it's a fickle thing. Like
I feel like
You're not who you were at one point in life till the next point in your life.
Exactly.
And then say like you both are, as if we were just talking about immaturity.
Yeah.
Both of you were not ready for that time.
Right.
And then in maybe 10 years or so, both of you are ready. That's life. That's how life works.
Right.
As Adriana said, things fall into place and things fall out of place.
Exactly.
Like you don't truly know what is going to happen in your life.
Exactly. I say this a lot. Like the example you gave, why didn't you know from the moment you met that person that's who you're supposed to be with? People, what, like John was saying, it was Princess. Princess was saying how if you met your soulmate, why take time to separate from them and marry someone else just to come back to them? I feel like a lot of people, when they're not mature enough to be with someone else and value them, they take them for granted. And a lot of times people, like, the reason why people are destined to be each other, destined to be with each other and end up separating from each other is because they took each other for granted. They weren't mature enough, they didn't value them. And sometimes, like I say this a lot, it takes you to lose someone or be away from someone to value how much they meant to you in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But I feel like in our day and age, maturity is something we ourselves don't have. And so we can't obviously have it going into a relationship. Right. So it's like that's how we built it, by like getting into these life experiences. And just like how your parents always feel like they want you to go a certain path, they want you to do certain things. You can't like do them or make decisions on your own unless you yourself go into that situation and say, right, I really don't like this or I do like this.
Yeah. I was always been told to be blunt and to the point. But apparently that's not.
No, that's not.
But what do you mean? There's a difference between being honest and being blunt. Like, for me, the word being blunt is like you're being aggressive, you're being unnecessarily aggressive, and you're being unnecessarily
No, I don't think so.
But the thing is, if you're being honest, you can be honest with somebody without. So
all right,
we're going back to maturity.
No, we're just gonna wrap it up. Let's see what you get. All right, guys. I'm gonna just put a little clip of the aftermath because somehow we got off topic
Every single time.
Every single time. So I'm gonna just put a little clip of what happened. But overall, you guys heard our thoughts about maturity in a relationship, the importance of it, the value. We're actually a mess. We're dysfunctional. We're gonna do better. We're gonna do better, right, guys?
No.
No? All right. Well, we're gonna keep trying. Okay? So everybody say bye.
Bye.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Excuse me.
Oh, God.
Practice.